Unrest is starting to plague the streets of our everyday lives. Well, our everyday lives in Noobs and economy. You can now erase your unrest statistics, and there's something interesting you can use. But before I get carried away, here's a strategy. We're going to be using workers to print money. Now, there's also a second thing that is rather important. These workers are being sacrificed. I'm throwing them straight into the front line so that the unrest goes up, and I can later on use nuclear weaponry. Now, a key part of this plan is not crashing. And turns out I crash a lot when I spam workers, so I'm changing my strategy a bit. Yeah, I know, I lied to you. Instead, I'm using managers and a lot of economy buildings. Alongside this, I was gifted a few senators by my dear ally, who may have had a few too much to spend. And this is great, it allowed me to reduce my inflation. But the key part of this plan is not inflation or getting money. It's preventing the enemy from expanding so that unrest can easily rise as we slowly attack their units, making unrest higher and higher every second until the nukes start rolling in. Now, of course, this is rather difficult as I picked a naval map, so I have to blockade my enemy. We managed to do this successfully with a Swedish person named Cairo, but we were unable to effectively blockade another one of the enemies, so they developed and they'd grow to be a threat. But despite this, we were about to start gaining unrest. This was good. As soon as we got enough unrest, I'd start getting the nuclear trucks down and, of course, start nuking the enemy. I'd brought plenty of units to prevent the enemy from encroaching on my lands. But I brought way too few offensive units. I honestly was relying way too much on the nuclear weapons. You see, in Noobs and economy, nuclear weaponry is not mutually assured destruction. It's destruction to the first person who receives one, because you'll probably lose your own nuke if you're hit. Alongside this, using a nuclear weapon raises the unrest all the way to 100. So when I got my first one, I started aiming straight at the nearest amassment of enemy units. Though something unexpected occurred. Our ground forces were a bit more effective than I thought, and the unrest didn't rise as fast as I desired it to. As a matter of fact, it peaked at 46%. A bit low. We need 60% for nuclear weaponry to start being able to be launched. But this wasn't the worst thing. We were sort of bullying the last remaining enemy, and they'd soon back out. I mean, they weren't an insane person, unlike the other guy that we eventually pushed a bit too far, causing him to leave, like I had stated prior. But most importantly, nuclear weaponry. Mutually assured destruction doesn't exist, and we can't exactly use nukes. We aren't at a high enough unrest. Well, this is quite the predicament. I guess I'm going to just destroy all the enemy bases. It's the second best thing I can do. But what if I told you that there was actually a secret way to amass even more unrest? One so hidden that I've barely seen anyone use it in my 3 matches of PvP. Don't ask how much experience I have. Now, there's a unit called activists. These units have something a bit special I'll reveal later on. Sadly, I forgot to bring activists. That was the major blunder. I on accident brought riot police, which is the counter to activists. And now our enemy finally is leaving. So as soon as they left, I decided it may have been the best option to follow suit with my friend. Though this left dissatisfaction. I mean, I wanted to drop nuclear weapons before leaving. Overall, the match was worthless if no rockets were launched. Yeah, I mean, it was guaranteed victory. We had plenty of senators already. Now, there's a map that lets you try out tactics rather easily. Especially activists. They're rather effective on this map. It's rather small, lots of enemy units. You see, the funny thing about activists is that every time they attack, Unrest rises by 4%, so nukes are rather easy to get, and I'll leave you off to 2 nuclear bombardments.